Welcome to Future Consideration, SB Nation's weekly NFL draft show. That's Dan. He watches college football.
That is Matt. He is our NFL guy.
Correct. Before we get into things, bit of housekeeping. Next Thursday night is the first round of the NFL draft. SB Nation is going to have a live show, 7 p.m. Eastern. That's before the draft starts, and then 11 p.m. as the first round wraps up. It's going to be great. Dan, who have we got on tap?
We have Jeff Schwartz, Giants offensive lineman, active NFL player, to break down all things draft experience, all the offensive linemen, defensive linemen, all the positions in the draft.
Dan, does ESPN's draft show have an active NFL player as a guest host?
I'm going to guess no.
They do not.
No.
What about the NFL Network? Do they?
It's just a guess again. No.
That's why you should be watching SBNation.com at 7 p.m. Eastern on April 30th, and again at 11 p.m. It's going to be fun. Let's get into things.
Okay.
With the mock draft, the final mock, the penultimate mock.
There it is.
The penultimate mock
Good
for
use.
mocking the draft. Thank you. Number 1, Tampa Bay taking Jameis Winston. No surprise.
Not a surprise. It would be a huge shocker, though, if they go in another direction here. They could trade down. Obviously, there are stupid GMs who will throw picks at other GMs in exchange to move up. But yeah, as it stands now, it seems Jameis is the pick for Tampa.
I can't help but feel a little bit worried about spending the first overall pack in the draft.
Sure.
The pack in the drift.
Yeah.
On Jameis Winston, a player with so many questions both on and off the field.
The surefire way to have a bad NFL team for a long time is to miss on a quarterback early in the draft.
Yeah. Speaking of which, the Tennessee Titans would take Marcus Mariota, quarterback from Oregon, at 2.
I like this pick because if there's anything good teams do, it's they draft good quarterbacks somewhere in the draft. Marcus Mariota is the surest thing in this draft if you combine both on and off-field abilities.
Yes.
So yes, it makes sense. The rumor, though, is that Tennessee could trade down because San Diego does covet perhaps a future quarterback if they're to trade Phil Rivers.
This would be very intriguing, and I would like this even more than the Titans taking Mariota, is for them trading for Rivers and sending Mariota to San Diego.
A more stable situation in San Diego or Los Angeles,
just because
as it
Ken
were.
Wisenhunt likes that tall, immobile quarterback.
Absolutely. All right, Jacksonville at 3. Going with Dante Fowler, who's not my number 1 edge rusher on the board. I like him. I like him a lot. He's a top 5 talent. I don't know if he has the polish to be NFL ready as a top 5 guy. It's the number 3 overall pick. And Jacksonville, a pretty good defense, too. Stockpiling pass rush is never a bad thing.
Chris Clemens is 34. You might as well get some fresh young talent there.
Yes, and Dante Fowler certainly has the frame to grow. Number 4.
I would love this pick. If the Raiders ended up with Leonard Williams, DT from USC, it'd be a great pick. Just you and I think he's the most can't-miss player in the draft.
Yeah, I think in terms of pure talent, pure ceiling, and potential, pairing Leonard Williams with Khalil Mack, ooh, that's nasty.
Could the Raiders actually dig themselves out of the 20-year hole that they're in?
If they have Leonard Williams still on the board at 4, it's the no-brainerest pick there.
That would be a coup for them.
Yes.
Number 5, the Washington team taking Vic Beasley from Clemson, another outside linebacker you like.
Yes, and that's another team. You can get better quicker if you can get to the quarterback, and that's obviously at a premium now because the rules do favor offenses and quarterbacks. So if Vic Beasley is there at 5, he's my number 1 edge rusher. We're going to get into this a little bit later after the mock. I love that pick. Trent Murphy looks like he has potential for Washington as well.
It's an obvious need to replace Brian Arakpo at that outside linebacker position. I like it.
Yes. All right, let's skip around a little bit.
Let's bounce around.
All right.
Number 11, a team we haven't talked about a whole lot, the Minnesota Vikings, taking the best wide receiver in the draft, according to you, Kevin White from West Virginia. I love this pick.
Yeah, I like this pick a lot, too. Obviously, Minnesota has invested in wide receiver and free agency right now, but a disappointing second year from Cordero Patterson.
Yeah, so they've traded for Mike Wallace, who is good, but you don't want him to be your number 1 receiver. Charles Johnson and Jarius Wright are both solid, but again, they don't have a playmaking number 1 receiver.
Right.
Kevin White would definitely be that.
And we don't know about Adrian Peterson, and also they have the best second-year quarterback in the league in Teddy Bridgewater. So I like adding. I don't know about 11 if that's a spot because it is a deep receiver draft, but that is a dream scenario for Teddy Bridgewater.
Number 14, the Dolphins taking Todd Gurley.
That's real high.
We have not seen a running back this high in any of our mock drafts
I think you can succeed without a first-round running back in the NFL, and I love Todd Gurley, at least a healthy Todd Gurley. I think this is a reach. Miami at running back, obviously, to become more balanced and improve offense in general. It makes sense at some point. I think this is too high.
They probably have a bigger need at linebacker, but Noshawn Moreno and Daniel Thomas are unsigned free agents. Lamar Miller's entering a contract year, so it would make sense, but I think that, yes, the first round pick is probably
I'd rather see them go defense there.
At 16, the Texans picking Jalen Strong from wide receiver.
A team with a very good defense. Yes.
Arizona State.
Yes, a team with a very good defense that does need to fill in and does have a need at receiver with the loss of Andre Johnson to both age and free agency.
Yes.
So I like Jalen Strong a lot. His value is right around there. He's big, he's strong. He won't be counted on to be a savior because Nuke Hopkins is also very good. But yeah, it's right on the border of value for me at 16.
Yeah, you need a wide receiver who can go and get errant passes if you're playing on the Texans.
That's a terrifically strong point. All right, let's bump up to 28. TJ Clemmings to Denver.
Makes a ton of sense. He's a natural right tackle. He'll step in and start at right tackle from day one.
He's an angry man, too. I love that. He pushes people around.
So it makes perfect sense. It's
Yes.
a good fit. It's a great way to spend your first round pick when you're at the end of that first round.
Yeah, and we saw that when C.J. Anderson really started stepping up near the end of the season for Denver, how much better Denver looked on offense, and it was already historically good offense. So it makes a lot of sense. At 32, New England.
Another really sensible pick, and
Yeah.
the sort of thing that you could see the Patriots doing if they don't trade down, which
Right.
is another thing that Bill Belichick loves to do. But
Yes.
assuming they use their actual first round pick on a player, Eddie Goldman from Florida State makes a ton of sense,
Yeah.
filling an obvious hole after Vince Wilfork left in free agency.
Yeah, and it makes sense as well because New England is much more multiple. They do play a lot of 4-3, even though Vince Wilfork's that true nose. Wilfork played all over the defensive line. Goldman has that versatility, especially when healthy. I like that pick, but the asterisk, as always, with New England, wouldn't be surprised if they traded down.
No.
Would not be surprised.
In fact, if you wanted to just make an accurate
Yeah.
mock draft, just be like,
Trade down.
Patriots trade
down.
All right, and that is our review.
Yes.
Our mix and
match, yeah.
Of this week's Mocking the Draft mock draft. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching. And again, check us out Thursday night, 7 p.m., 11 p.m. Eastern.
Yes, all right. Time for edge rushers.
Edge rushers.
This is a really fun draft, especially for first-round edge rushers, because these 5 guys that we're going to talk about all could fit in the top 15.
And you mentioned it earlier, Vic Beasley from Clemson's your number one.
He is my number one. His burst is terrific off the line. Great use of his hands. He's not the biggest dude yet. He's right around 240, but he's relentless. If he's able to add bulk and strength, I like his moves a lot. He's versatile. He's scary. I like him at number one.
It's great to see college players who have just not the physical tools, but also
Right.
the actual moves, the hand fighting, the skills to succeed at the next level. Some players who are physical freaks can get by on just being stronger and faster.
This is true. Dante Fowler at number 2 does have that incredible size and athleticism combination. Still a little bit raw in terms of pass rushing moves, but I love his ability, especially in the open field. If he's asked to play outside linebacker in a 3-4, he can play really well in space. He's relentless chasing down players with the ball.
Yeah. And number 3, a really intriguing player that I think is a big question mark, Randy
Right.
Gregory from Nebraska.
He's slim.
Yeah, 6'5", 235 with reports that he might be ducking under 230 right
Which
now.
takes him out of consideration for 4-3 teams because he's not a true outside
he's looking like a
linebacker.
3-4 outside linebacker.
Right, he's much more of a pure pass rusher. They lined him up all over the field, which is fun. Hand down, standing upright, also an inside linebacker some on some design blitzes. But yeah, if he is able to add weight, he's fast, great burst, and if he gets his hands on you as a running back, receiver, tight end, quarterback, plays
He's got
over.
those long limbs.
Yes, he does have that.
Number 4, Shane Ray from Missouri. Again, defensive line university right there.
Absolutely. If you could add the polish of Shane Ray to some of the guys ahead of him just because of their athleticism and frames, that'd be incredible. Shane Ray has really good strength, has good moves, but he is still slightly small, needs to add a little bit more, and can get lost in a giant offensive tackle. So
right.
he is quite good. I love his hands. His moves are great. He's just small for a 4-3 down lineman.
Rounding out the top 5,
Yes.
one of my favorite names
Yes.
in the draft, Bud Dupree from Kentucky,
Bud, yeah. And even if it weren't Bud, it would be Alvin.
which is almost as
Almost as good. An insane physical specimen. At 270 pounds, he can play all over the field. He's great in space. He hits hard. He's just a hard hitter. Does he have moves? Does he have polish? Nope. But that kind of potential is tantalizing.
So when we talk about these amazing athletes who
Yeah.
lack the polish, on the upside, you might be getting a JPP. You might be getting
Ezekiel Ansah,
Ezekiel
yeah.
Ansah. The downside is maybe you're getting a Deion Jordan.
Right, and Jordan, basketball player, converted tight end to defensive lineman. He was tantalizing, that's why he went in the top 5. I don't think Bud Dupree is top 5 talent. I think people will shy away, but whatever team gets him, if they've got a good defensive line coach, good linebackers coach, whatever the case may be, they are getting pure elite clay to mold.
Nice.
And that's something you have to love with
I
Budget
do enjoy
Brady.
elite clay.
Elite clay.
All right, those are Dan Rubenstein's top 5 edge rushers in the 2015 draft. Thanks for watching this. And remember, Thursday night, April 30th, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. on the West Coast. And then again, as the first round wraps up, 11 p.m. on the East Coast.
Yep.
Do watch us, SBNation.com. It's going to be a blast.
Live.